Good morning, everyone. This week's Torah portion begins with the words V'haya ekev tishmon. It will come to pass when you will listen. Es kol ha-mitzvot ha'elo, all of the commandments that I have commanded you. Ushmartem, and you will observe. Va'asisem otam, and you will perform the commandments. And the question is, we understand that first you have to listen, but after listening, you perform. Why does the Torah say you will listen, and then you will observe, and then you will perform the commandments? Until today, we talk about people being an observant Jew. What does being an observant Jew have to do with doing the mitzvot? You should say they're a performing Jew. Why an observing Jew? And I just heard a story this Friday that maybe sheds some light on this question. I was invited by a fellow by the name of Aryeh Kranz to come visit him in Century Village, West Palm Beach. And he took me to a big temple right in the middle, in the heart of the village, called Temple Anshe Shalom. This is a temple that's 25,000 square feet, and it sits on approximately 8 acres of land. And it was built together with the village of Century Village over 50 years ago. A huge sanctuary that can seat maybe 700-800 people, with 9 Torahs in the ark, with a secondary sanctuary for the weekdays, with beautiful hall and library and offices and a meditation garden outside. And he tells me, this Aryeh Kranz, that he just took over this synagogue, and he told me the story behind it. It was once a very thriving conservative synagogue in Century Village. But unfortunately, the Jewish population diminished in Century Village, and the synagogue only had approximately 20 to 25 members left. And it was very difficult for them to keep up this large temple with only 20 or 25 members. At the same time, the religious Orthodox community in Century Village has been exploding. And the one Orthodox synagogue across the street from Century Village, Eitz Chaim, they have 3 different caravans on the property to accommodate all those who come and pray, because hundreds and hundreds of families have moved to Century Village. So the woman by the name of Gladys, who is the president of the temple, calls Aryeh Kranz, and she meets with him and their board, says, look, we can no longer run this synagogue. We see that the religious community in Century Village is growing by leaps and bounds. We want to give it to you to take over and make it into an Orthodox synagogue. And Aryeh Kranz is showing me the property, saying if you need a wedding hall or anything, it's available now, because hundreds of people are praying there every day now, morning, afternoon, studying Torah all day. They have now turned it into an Orthodox congregation. But then I said to Aryeh Kranz, how did this woman Gladys, the president of the temple, know to call you? And he told me a fascinating story. He said, when I moved to Century Village, I met my neighbor, an elderly woman by the name of Dorothy, 85 years old. And we became friends. And then she told me that every Friday she drives to 441 to Albertson to get a kosher challah for Friday night for Shabbat. And while he's there, she picks up a rotisserie chicken for her Shabbat dinner. Well, the challah is kosher, but the rotisserie chicken is not kosher. And so he felt really bad that she's buying a non-kosher chicken every Friday night. So Aryeh Kranz says to his elderly neighbor Dorothy, you know, it's difficult for you most probably to go all the way to Albertsons. I go every Friday to Boca, to the kosher market, to buy food for my family. I'll pick you up a chali and a rotisserie chicken. And that's what he would do every Friday. When he would do his shopping, he would pick up a chali and a rotisserie chicken and drop it off at his neighbor's house. And when she tried to pay him, he said, no, it's my pleasure to give this to you. Well, this went on for over 10 years. Turns out that Dorothy, his neighbor, is good friends with Gladys, the president of the temple. And they were playing cards one day, and Dorothy said, Gladys said, you know, I don't know what to do. We can't keep this temple running. We don't have enough members to support it. So Dorothy says, you know, I have a nice Jewish neighbor, a religious man. Maybe you should talk to him. They seem to need more space. They could use it. And that's the way Gladys got the number of Aryeh Kranz, called him, and now this big temple is alive again with services and prayer and Torah study and being used to the fullest. And this is what it means, perhaps what the Torah says, that before you perform the commandments, first you have to listen. Then you have to observe with your eyes, and only then will you perform the mitzvot. When you take note of what's going on around you, you listen to the conversations people tell you, and you observe opportunities to be of help, to do a mitzvah, a simple act of kindness like picking up a chicken and a chali, consistently led to the transformation of this temple into, once again, a thriving synagogue. When we walk through our days, keep your eyes open, keep your ears open. There are opportunities every moment of every day to do good deeds. Have a wonderful